Hi, everybody. Melanie Taylor here, the Director of Education at Eat, Breathe, Thrive, and I am very excited to be chatting today with Dr. Whitney Cook Owens. Dr. Whitney Cook Owens is a licensed psychologist specialized in evidence-based treatment with adults. Her areas of focus include depression, anxiety, eating disorders, relational issues, and addictions. Dr. Owens works with individual adults, couples, families, and groups. And since she arrived in Las Vegas in 2008, Dr. Owens has been a leader and innovator in the behavioral healthcare community. Dr. Owens served on the executive board of Nevada Psychological Association, or NPA, for over a decade, including serving as president from 2013 to 2014. Dr. Owens currently serves as the president of the Nevada Board of Psychological Examiners, in addition to her work as a psychologist. She is an ERYT 200 yoga teacher with specialized training in her several styles of yoga, including vinyasa and yin yoga. She is also specially trained in teaching meditation and mindfulness skills. In her free time, she enjoys international travel and teaching yoga and co-facilitated the 2021 International Mind and Body Wellbeing Training with Dr. Cook. Dr. Owens is also a proud alumni of the leadership of the Las Vegas program. Well, welcome, Whitney. And is there anything that I missed that you wanted to share about yourself?
I think that covers it. I am also a proud dog mom and cat mom, and that's another big part of my life. I really love my fur babies and really spending time with them. I've also been one of my proudest accomplishments is being in my relationship with my husband for 27 years and having just a really loving relationship with him. So I always like to bring that. There's a lot of professional things that I'm proud of, but like the personal things are just as important to me.
Mm, yeah, I've got that. I also have fur babies and a husband of 26 years. So I can relate to what you were sharing there, that I always think of that as the important foundation to be able to do the work that we do, is to have that relations in our home and that safe place to be back at each day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the other thing to share is that you are a trained Eat, Breathe, Thrive facilitator, and one of our earliest facilitators of the 7 week series curriculum, which is a bit about what we're going to talk to the back half of our conversation today. But I thought I'd ask a bit about you. Can you tell me a little bit about what led you to doing the work that you do?
Yeah, so I tend to be a little bit of a type A personality. And so in fifth grade, we had a job fair. And in that job fair, my little anxious brain was like, you have to decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And somehow I don't remember the exact how I came to want to be a psychologist. But I just remember thinking that I really wanted to help people. And when I was in seventh grade, I had a best friend who had an eating disorder, and she really struggled a lot with her mental health and with her eating disorder. And it just really inspired me to want to be able to learn more and really help more. Um, and when I was in sixth grade, my father died, and my mother went through a pretty severe depression, which also really added to me wanting to understand people suffering and understand what how people came to suffer in the ways that they do and how I could be most helpful, because I tend to be a pretty empathetic person and just really care about helping people feel better. And when other people feel sad or they're hurting, I tend to feel pretty sad and hurt myself. So that's how I came to want to become a psychologist. And then after I finished up my graduate education and started practicing, I noticed that I was in just a lot of physical pain from sitting all day. And I was never really like a very athletic or, um, you know, I never really enjoyed moving my body until I found yoga. And once I found yoga, I was like, this is it. Like it like brightened my whole world of like being in my body and connecting with my body in a way that I just never had before. And so I went to my first yoga training. I want to say it was in 2000. 2012, and just fell in love and like really, really enjoyed it. Got a lot more involved in my yoga community here in Las Vegas. And I met my co-facilitator, Sarah, who really was very excited about Eat, Breathe, Thrive, and had really found a lot of joy in the program and wanted to facilitate the program. And so she invited me to co-facilitate, and it was a easy match for me given that one of my specialties is working with folks with eating disorders. So that's kind of the journey of how I came to Eat, Breathe, Thrive.
Wonderful. I hear a lot of personal heart connection to this work, which I think leads many of us here, personal experience or witnessing that experience in people close to us. Yeah, it rings true a lot to things, knowing people that have been in your program and hearing their experiences makes a lot of sense how they've shared that place that you come as from that heart-centered work.
Yeah.
What surprised you the most about the work that you do?
Um, I guess I don't know that it would be surprising as much as it's one of my favorite parts, is just that I just really love people. Like once you really sit down with someone and learn their story and have an opportunity, I've never met a human that I've really had a deep conversation with that I didn't really like a lot. And as a psychologist, people share with me kind of really icky stuff, and I find that those are the pieces that actually make me like them more, because all humans have, challenges, all humans have difficulties, and those are not the things that make them unlovable. They're actually the things that make them more lovable, because it makes them human and makes them real. And
Mhm.
so I don't know that it doesn't surprise me anymore, because I've just for years been feeling that way. And I think other people tend to be surprised. They're like, how do you do it all day? And I say, listen, talking to people and working with people is the easiest part of my day. The business part is that's the stressful part, like doing all of the administrative stuff. But actually working with humans and connecting with humans is like one of my favorite joys of what I do.
Hmm. Yeah, I think in that sense of like the authentic conversation, doesn't matter what you're talking about, when it's an authentic conversation about real humanity and our like the things that we experience, that's where the gold is. That's where the richness is. Yeah, I can really understand that. So, what would you say is the most important part of your work, or the most important part of the work being done in the world right now?
Mm. Oh gosh, that's a big question. I think for me in the work that I'm doing, one of the things that I do in my practice here in Nevada is we not only focus on working with patients individually, but we also work on training the next generation of mental health providers. And in that work, I find that it's just incredibly important to continue to grow the profession of psychology and really get more providers into the workforce, because we just don't have enough. And it makes the work that yoga teachers do, it makes the work that, folks who facilitate programs like Eat, Breathe, Thrive do, even more important, because we just need a lot of people who are caring about each other's mental health and doing the work to raise awareness of how do we take care of ourselves in a world that really doesn't encourage that or reinforce that. We have a lot of things in our culture that encourage people to strive harder, do more, be more, um, try harder. And I think we have a lot of folks who um, really actually just need to do a little less and need to focus on taking care of themselves more rather than striving. And so I think a lot of the important work right now is helping people understand how important mental health is and how important it is to take care of your mental health above succeeding, above striving, and really like if we aren't taking care of ourselves and happy and living our best lives in that way and forming really solid relationships, then success is really sort of meaningless.
Hmm. Yeah, and I really understand from the place of how yoga in particular um, sort of forces us to do that in such a way, right? Kind of makes us recognize where we're caring for ourselves, where we're not. Which I think Richard Freeman that said yoga ruins your life, and not that it ruins your life, but it ruins all those things that we do that are not truly caring for ourselves or truly supportive. And if I consider my own journey with therapy and yoga, they've both done that, taken on that role, but there's parts of it that had to happen outside of therapy and in life. And that's where yoga's been so supportive. Um, which is a perfect segue into talking about Eat, Breathe, Thrive and the study. And so, if you can share a little bit about what your role was as part of the study.
Yeah. So I co-facilitated two back-to-back series for the study, along with my partner Sarah Ackeret, um, in what was that 2019, spring of 2019. And
Mhm.
my role in that co-facilitation, um, Sarah and I both are registered yoga teachers, and I took on the role of facilitating the content of the series, and then Sarah took on the role of leading the yoga. Um, yeah, that was my role.
Mhm. Why do you think this study matters?
In the world of mental health, there is what we call evidence-based practice, and the name of my business is the Evidence-Based Practice of Nevada. And mental health is really the practice of mental health and treating mental health has historically kind of lagged behind when it comes to having good empirically supported basis for the treatments that we do. And you know unlike medicine, we're a lot more diverse in how we approach treatment of mental health. But what we know is that there are treatments that really work and that really have um, good studies that show us that this works for most people most of the time. And so when it comes to yoga, a lot of people who really um, uh, ascribe to evidence-based practices say, well, yoga, that's kind of woo-woo stuff, like that's for other people, that's not for me, like it's too spiritual, it's too whatever. And so the study, I think, really was incredibly important, and all of the work that Dr. Koch and other folks do in terms of researching yoga really substantiates what those of us who practice yoga know, and that it's incredibly beneficial for mental health and physical health, and um, really creating yeah, overall health. And we can get the evidence to show that. And if we have the evidence to show that, then we can say, we can point to it and say, this, see, look, this works, we know it works and it's helpful, versus you should do this, well, why should I do it? We have good data to show that it works.
Mhm. Yeah, being a yoga therapist myself, I can really relate to how do we work with this type of work in a medical field? And it does really require that evidence-based research that tells us what we can feel when we practice in a way that others who don't might be able to better understand, which I think is really important as well. Did anything surprise you about, when leading through the course with your participants, doing the work that you do and knowing that these things work? What surprised you about it?
When I first moved to Nevada, I was working at intensive outpatient program for women with eating disorders. And the first time I led the series, I had a participant in our program, and we were just kind of having a bit of a chat before we started. And I said, "Hey, what's your favorite yoga pose?" And I was just curious about what are people's favorites. And in my mind at the time, I'm thinking, oh, people are going to say crow, or they're going to say, warrior one, or just something like pretty big and powerful. And this young woman said, my favorite pose is Tadasana. And I was like, Tadasana? Why Tadasana? And she said, it's where I can't hide. And I'm just open to the world, and I'm showing my heart. And she's like, I'm letting people see me. And it feels so powerful to allow people to see me. And I'm tearing up right now as I'm telling the story, because it's so surprising that, like, just the act of being seen and being open really is so powerful for people. And I think that was the piece that just really made me a firm believer in the program, and the power of the program, and the power of yoga in work with eating disorders.
Hmm. And for any of those listeners who don't know what Tadasana is, it's mountain pose, which is standing, truly standing and opening your palms forward, but really standing. It's translated to mountain pose, which is standing and being in that stillness. What a powerful thing. I can feel it, like get goosebumps listening to that. And what a powerful statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how has this study or working with this program changed your life or your work?
Um, another sort of story that came out of this work was a woman that who had struggled with an eating disorder for her entire life, and then joined the study. And on the last day of the study, sort of shared that she had been through a lot of psychotherapy, a lot of treatment, a lot of different levels of care, and none of them got through to her in the way that doing yoga had. And that really the that really changed the way, as a clinician, that I really I knew as a clinician that behavior change and people doing things in their body made a difference, right? Um,
Mhm.
but but it really fundamentally changed how incredibly important it is for clinicians to help patients um, be in their bodies, and doing that really intentionally, and not just a hey, I'm going to teach you progressive muscle relaxation, or hey, I'm going to teach you deep breathing, not just like doing that to do it, but bringing a lot of intentionality in that part of our work, in a way that people can really connect to their bodies in a meaningful way, because that's where the real power is when we connect to our bodies and we really listen to our bodies. I always tell my patients, I say your body is so much smarter than you are. Like, your body is so much, it was intelligently designed, and if we really listen to it and befriend it, what a powerful ally that you have in your body to heal and to learn and to grow. And so Eat, Breathe, Thrive, that program really landed that for me in a way that all of my other training hadn't. It really landed it for me, that being in, like, helping people be in their bodies is just one of the most powerful things that we can do.
Mhm. I have a feeling I understand the answer already with what you just said, but I'll ask it anyway. What would you want someone to know that's considering the 7-week series?
Um, just know that it's going to change your life. It truly is going to be life changing. Um, I think, I think in addition to everything that I've shared from participants who have gone through the program, is true. The thing that I don't think I've kind of explicitly shared is the tribe nature of Eat, Breathe, Thrive, and creating connections with other people in the tribe of um, like sharing together, learning together, and knowing that you have people who have your back. Um, one of my favorite parts of the series is doing the community project towards the end, and how excited people in our community got to contribute to the community. And I've led the series like 4 or 5 times, and each time folks came up with a different idea. One time we taught yoga in the park with dogs and raised money for like a local animal shelter. And that was just a lot of fun. Everybody got to bring their dogs and have so much fun and really connect. And so it's a doing the series is a way of not only connecting to yourself but connecting to your community in a way that is unique and special, and really gives you a community to come back to and rely on.
Hmm. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much. Is there anything I didn't ask about that you wanted to share?
Um, I mean, I would just say that out of all of the out of all of the communities that I've been in, I like a lot of different experiences in life, and so I've taught a lot of different um, groups and classes and series, and I've done a lot. Eat, Breathe, Thrive always has a special place in my heart because of how special it is, and how well it was is created and designed in a way that really pulls in all of the essential elements of what's needed for recovery from an eating disorder, from community, like we talked about, to connection to your body, to just understanding the understanding how our society um, overvalues um, aesthetic and overvalues success in a way that like really takes away from what's truly important. And so I think it's just intelligently designed. I think Chelsea did an incredible job of creating a series that that's just really magical and really helpful. And I'm so happy that it exists, happy that people love to teach it, and would recommend it to anyone, even if they've never struggled with an eating disorder. Like, it's just a magical series to do and to be a part of.
Mm, I completely agree. Thank you so much. And for giving your time to us today and sharing from your experience. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It was good to spend some time with you today.
Great. Thanks, Whitney.